Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Pull Up Tray podcast. The podcast co hosted by myself, Samson Folk, co hosted on the other side by the namesake, Trevon Heath, the Tray that pulls up. People have been making nicknames out of our names for years now. We've been eating some humble pie on failed assessments of the past. But there's one thing that we have not been wrong about, which was the upward trajectory of the Raptors on the whole this
Yep.
season.
Yep.
We've talked about things they don't do very well, but they now sit at 22 and 15. It's not bad. Their offense slightly worse than average on the season. Their defense cruising for a top 4 status, higher than, like, if this holds to the end of the season, their
Yeah.
defense will just be flat out much better than I thought, and
Agreed.
probably much better than you thought. Overall thoughts, I guess. How you doing? All that after a win against the Hawks and sweeping them 4-0 on the season.
It's good. The Hawks entering the season are one of the teams where you looked at, like, if they're going to be good, they need to measure up with a squad like this, and they've annihilated them pretty much the entire season,
We
which is
have
good.
been Michael Irvin to the Hawks, like commentary wise, from the outset. We were running laps after that
Oh,
first game.
it's hilarious. And the the Raptors looking like the '04 Pistons for a week it's just been it's been outstanding. They've gotten effort. Like, you've already known, like the strength of their defense is like their front court with guys like Scottie, obviously, who top 5 defender on this planet, CMB, who's been outstanding. Even BI, he as a help side rim protector, he like had some
Yes.
juice. He kind of looked like Serge Ibaka for like a 3-minute instance. It's a huge credit to Darko and maximizing what the team does really well, and to get this level of defense out of this group just bodes so well on what they can do and, like, punching up to some of these better teams in the second half of the year.
So there's a thing. RJ Barrett has a reputation as like a really, really bad defender. Do you
Yeah.
think that's fair, or am I setting up a straw man to punch right now?
No, I think that's super fair.
Okay. And you and I never subscribed to the super bad part. Merely
Yeah.
that, he's mostly like he's bad at some things, but he's probably closer to neutral. He doesn't tank things. He doesn't motivate winning on defense much. And my goodness, man, uh, since he's back, the Raptors do not have a below average defensive performance. It's meaningful.
Yep.
Jakob Pertl, who I can't remember if it was RAPM. I can't remember which catch all, but it was like, no, actually, Jakob Pertl is like the 7th best
Yes.
defender in the world. Well, the Raptors are doing this without Jakob Pertl. And again, on the season, top 4, you and I had so many qualms. That's where we're going to start this thing. We had so
Yep.
many qualms about look at the defenders on this roster. How do they make it work with
Yep.
a bunch of different lineups? And they just flat out have made it work. And it's not even like it's not as if they have gone and only played the guys who are quote unquote good at defense. Ochai did not take any piece of RJ's role.
Nope.
Jacoby hasn't either. Of course, they both filled in bits and pieces during his injury, but like Grady still plays, Sandro plays. Anybody who's perceived as like not good at defense, they play a lot of minutes on this team, and their offensive numbers are gassed the hell out of the world on this team. But I guess a check-in on a top 4 defense. What are you noticing that's good?
First off, I'd just say Scottie Barnes, this is the level of defense that you thought. I would even say it's a little bit higher, but heading into, like, his billing was that he's gonna be one of these special defenders coming out of the draft. You didn't necessarily see it some of the early years. You saw it the second half of last year, and,
They
like,
said
he's
he
could
could be like Matisse Thybulle level.
and, like, there was some Draymond comps, and, like, I'm not saying he's Draymond Green right now, but, like, he is a very, very special defender. So he makes up a lot of what their lack of ability, especially stopping the ball, like, he makes up for a lot of it, being able to cover ground and zone up and cover multiple spaces at once. But I think what also has, like, been a surprise is they've gotten better defensive expectation from better defensive outcomes from some guys. Like Jamal Shed, his defense has improved over the last year. Grady, he's although not great, has been passable in a lot of these lineups. Jacoby, his defense has gotten a lot better. a lot of the reps going into last year where they're playing this aggressive style, they're getting the shit kicked out of them against these really elite players like are boding well. And CMB has probably been the best rookie defensive player I've ever seen on the Raptors, honestly. He has been outstanding in
Better
what
than
he
OG?
I think so.
Wow.
The way that he's been able to play up, be also been able to guard the perimeter and play wings, and also create turnovers in the way that he's playing. He's been his. I expect his defense to be good, but he's surpassed my expectations, and he's allowed them to play without Jakob Poeltl, which is very surprising.
I think games like this are the huge opportunities because, Porzingis, I don't respect that man. And
Neither do I.
RJ Barrett was like just matching up with him. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Grady matching up with Rizachet. Even like Barrett with Jalen Johnson, CMB really with Jalen Johnson. There's these size matchups that the Raptors on the other end, they're winning it. Like Ingram is winning his size matchup against whatever wing defender he's seeing, or if it's Dyson Daniels. Scottie is bludgeoning whoever is matched up against him. CMB's taking it. But the Hawks going back the other way are not able to meet that physicality. And neither were the Heat when CMB had a
yeah,
great game. And when he's popping off, it's typically when he's able to assert his physicality and find comfort because he's asserting it. It's not like he's, undersized in that moment.
yeah.
He is undersized, but he doesn't feel it. He's still playing to his own strengths. And the Raptors, I mean, as a team with huge forwards, that's how you want to play. And they're supposed to be even bigger because Jakob is a very underrated 7'1". He's listed at 7'1". He is huge, but
Yeah.
he's not talked about like he is one of the behemoths in the NBA, even though he is. And they continue to churn through and do things. The big thing defensively is like tenacity across the board.
Mhm.
Scottie, I guess we could talk a little bit more about him. We've talked about in the past that the switch from being the outlet guy, where he was one of the best transition finishers in the NBA for the first 15 games. Then the Raptors say, well, we can't rebound at all. So let's call him back and help out on the glass. And now his transition frequency has taken a dive. The efficiency is still good, but
Yeah.
his role, we can point to him and say, this guy is doing everything, but I'm going to ask you to drill down a little bit deeper. Give me the science, please. I need the science.
Yeah. Um, Scottie's defense has gotten it, especially his rim deterrence, has gotten to a level where it shapes entirely what you can do offensively. Like today was a perfect example. They were able to play a more aggressive shell on what Jalen Johnson was doing heading into the paint and be able to dig and get more aggressive because of guys like Scottie that can make up ground, defend kickouts to the corner because of his length, because of his ability. And with him being the deterrent at the rim, he's turning a lot of those shots into contested jumpers, into floaters, which is helping spring their offense, create more turnovers across the board as well. And that's the stuff that you don't see on necessarily on a box score. It's probably why Jakob Poeltl's RPM is higher across the board because they're putting he allows other players to play on the floor. A lot of those bench units where he's playing along with other bench guys, often like Grady, Jacoby, guys like that doesn't necessarily work out as well as you'd probably want to. Those guys, you can run that lineup for a few minutes at a time because of his level of defense, and he's able to guard multiple players on the floor. Like he's found his home as kind of being that ball hawk through the defense, and it has allowed this defense to get to a height that I don't think anyone predicted. I would have been happy if they were the 12th defense in the NBA. I thought it'd be a
Mhm.
huge success. But
And it's been even more than that. They finished at 14th last year, I think. And we were like, okay, they'll improve a little bit. They have more size. They have younger
Mhm.
guys getting more reps. To your point about Scottie, the rim deterrence actually improving. So just this is per synergy, right? Sorry to Nabil, but we're pulling up the synergy stats. So Scottie, the percentiles is him ranked against the rest of the NBA. So defensive rebounding percentage, 84th percentile, offensive rebound percentage, 74th percentile, his block percentage, 90th percentile, steal percentage, 69th percentile, full closeout percentage, 88th percentile, opposing rim field goal attempts contested. So how often he's contesting at the rim, 94th percentile. And where he used to be in the bottom third of the NBA for the first stretch of the season, just a guy who was constantly trying to help out at the rim, but was overmatched. He has now elevated himself to 56th percentile in opposing rim field goal percentage, which means he's been nearly a top third performer at defending shots at the rim while still maintaining this really, really impressive volume. And that's just a guy maybe getting better. Maybe it's I guess, normalizing stats, but the numbers are starting to look better in a season where, just by proxy of his ability to, oh my God, create stocks, the numbers look insane.
Yeah.
And for, I think, his on-offs, the Raptors now finally are more positive with him on the floor offensively and more positive with him on the floor defensively. And as we say, on-offs are not everything. If you believed in on-offs, you would build the team around Jamison Battle, Grady Dick, Jamal
Small
Shed,
shed.
and
Yep.
Sandro Mamukelashvili. Of course, you're not building that team. I don't know anybody who would. Well, perhaps we know one guy who
Yeah.
might try. But I think, and the best example is one we talked about before, where Jacoby has terrible defensive on-offs, and nobody could tell me different. If somebody tried to tell me different, like he's not good defensively, I'd laugh in their face. I'd uproar. He's been fantastic. So
Yeah.
they have guys who are surviving and they have guys who are thriving. And
Yeah.
it's tough to look at this roster and see guys who are truly dying. Grady had a tough stretch. He was a great offensive game. Glad to see it, but he had a tough stretch.
Yeah.
You can't fall asleep on Luke Kennard on a pin down. It was hilarious that Josh blamed it on Quickley not calling out the screen. But yeah, Grady, you got to lock in. Darko called the timeout immediately. And he's probably the guy who struggles near the most, but they figured out how to hide him in some respects. They figured out how to win minutes, both defensively
Yep.
and offensively, with him on the floor. They're just, the points of weakness are offensively, which we've talked about to death,
Yeah.
but defensively, I guess we can bring it back around before we discuss offensive stuff trending in the right direction too. But Colin Murray Boyles, 99th percentile in the NBA in deflections caused. This past game, man, we can just pull up the stats because it's a
Absurd.
crazy stat line. So he shoots incredibly efficient. He's, I believe, 8 of 10 from the field. He's not bad. And also he had a DeMar DeRozan three-pointer, toe on the line. Not that great. 17 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, no turnovers, 2 offensive rebounds. He also didn't get credit for one, I'm pretty sure, because he got a tie up and then won
Oh
the
yeah.
tip,
Yep.
which I'm not sure if that gets credited as a steal. I think it gets credited as a turnover for the other player, but I'm not sure if it's a steal for the other. Anyway, I could be wrong. Anyway, he was hooping, man. What do you think is the secret sauce here? Why was CMB popping off? Why was he, as in your terms, outstanding?
It's absurd, superb, sublime.
Let's go.
With CMB, it's his physicality. The Raptors are in such a pinch with Jakob not being in the lineup, and again, this is the third pod in a row. I say bless Mo Bamba for trying.
There's still a lot of energy for him in the fan base. I see it on every reel, or I see it, or YouTube short, or people are saying you still give Mo a chance. I saw somebody bring up that, and I haven't looked, that Mo is like a sensational handoff hub. Now I haven't
Yeah.
seen the tape on that, so I'm not refuting it. I'm just saying I've not seen it. If he is, the Raptors' pretty good handoff team. There might make sense there, but I don't know. I'd have to watch myself.
Yes. But with CMB, his physicality translates so well. You see it on the glass. He creates multiple possessions defensively. It allows both him and Scottie to be super versatile, and whether they're guarding bigs, whether they're switching onto the floor and guarding other wings. Them together has given them so much versatility in what you can do defensively. and getting the Raptors in rotation isn't necessarily a big win for the offense because if you screen Scottie Barnes, the next guy coming over is CMB, who's long, whose hands feel like they have magnets in them. He creates tons of deflections, creates tons of turnovers for teams, and he also is an adequate rim protector as well, and has rim deterrence for the team. Like they've gotten the best case scenario of what you expected, like with Yaka being out for a long stretch. He's gotten to a level where his defense isn't just good for a rookie. He's one of the best defenders on the team. And like if this is what you're getting at a rookie level where he probably doesn't get the greatest whistle. Like he isn't able to maul guys like how he was in college. That's only as his defensive reputation gets better, he's only going to be able to be more physical. And if he can throw guys like Mitchell Robinson, throw Bam Adebayo out the way, the sky's the limit for what he can do defensively, honestly.
So the adequate rim deterrence thing, 71st percentile in how often he's contesting at the rim, 70th percentile in opposing rim field goal percentage. He has a 78th percentile block percentage. His on-off, like teams shoot much worse at the rim, is top 20% in the league when he's on the floor, which that's a 5-man stat. There's 4 other guys on the floor, but it's kind of to your point that, getting the Raptors in rotation, if both Scottie and CMB are on the floor, one of them is going to be a bastard in the lane. Like
Yeah.
you're not really going to outfox that. And so what that creates a lot of the time is higher pickup points. And that means like you're not as manipulative on the drive. You're maybe passing off of a back foot and a jump pass. You're more stretched out trying to finish. It requires more touch. And it also creates opportunities with earlier pickup points for guys like Brandon Ingram who don't typically just stonewall guys straight up. But if they pick it up and they have a longer 2 steps, you can track them across the back line. And Brandon Ingram can jettison out his massive wingspan for an incredibly impressive package of blocks, which he was, I loved seeing it. I love seeing any defensive playmaking from Ingram because
Yeah.
I don't expect him to dance around screens or to stonewall in isolation, but I do expect him to get his 7'3", I believe, wingspan into some areas. And especially since it sits upon like a 6'9" frame, get a little dangerous, make some plays. There's lots of room for it. And I'm not like totally, Brandon's defense, it hasn't made me cringe this year. I've
Yeah.
not been like, oh, come on. He's just been passable. But his frame, you wonder like, maybe he could be like strong even if his sensibilities of reading the defenses. And you play with guys like Scottie and CMB, they make it easier to be in the right place because they're so adventurous in trying to force mistakes from other offensive players. And Jalen Johnson had a much harder time with CMB tonight than he did, that time. He was ripping and roaring in game 1, but it wasn't quite the same in game 2.
Yeah, they weren't able to get out and run the way that they wanted to, and on any Jalen Johnson drive, they were digging down so hard, and typically, like, having Porzingis on the floor, like, creates some sense of urgency of having to respect his shooting, but 1, the Raptors didn't respect his shooting at all, to be honest, and 2, they have guys that are quick enough to get out there and force him to put the ball down or get a contest on the shot. It's just, like, rare ability and rare gifts defensively of having a combination. There's not many teams that have a big duo that can do that. Like I know we've said it before, but like if this team wants to have a puncher's chance and wants even long term get to a place where you're looking at the Knicks and you're sizing them up or the Celtics, I think it involves both of those guys being able to figure out the offense so that they can do this defensively because it is special stuff. And we've only seen this for half a season, not even half a season.
Yeah. Jalen, I think the big thing was that not only could they, kind of jut out to make him second guess if he wanted to pull the 3,
Yeah.
but those guys were so good at absorbing his drives. And
Mhm.
like anybody who's watched Jalen Johnson, he's an unorthodox initiator. Like did you make the Ben Simmons comp?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a like he's obviously not nearly as limited as Ben Simmons is,
Mhm.
but it's a good comp in that a lot of it is, and same with Scottie Barnes. These are upright forward playmakers who like to play make with momentum going downhill with a an upright dribble. And Jalen Johnson is probably the most fluid of those three, of Simmons,
Yeah,
Scottie,
for
and
sure.
and himself, and has the best outside shot. And probably, well, Simmons' dribble was probably the best, but Johnson's is not so bad. He can throw. He can give himself a throw ahead dribble and get down into the lane. CMB and Scottie did a really, really great job of absorbing that stuff. I have a question for you. I saw this. I saw this clip. It was like the Raptors social media team.
Mhm.
They asked Grady Dick if he could play anyone one on one. Who would he play? You'll never guess who he said. Did you see this clip?
No, I didn't.
He said Jesus Christ. And then and then they cut to CMB and he's like, he said Jesus Christ. Why would he say that?
See, if you told me like Emmanuel Quickly, maybe even Jamal Shed, I think I could accurately guess that. But oh
It's
man.
the funny thing was Elijah Martin came into. He's like, see, I thought about that one as well, but he's busting my ass, man. Like he said he could walk on water. Imagine what he could do on hardwood.
Yeah,
And
that's a
then
fact.
yeah. And then Grady was like, he shoots a wet ball, man. He can do everything. Jesus probably would be. I mean, there's memes about this. Like it's just
Yeah.
Jesus in like the chanclas
Had
crossing somebody
had
over.
had to be a killer.
I mean, all
That
all
makes
all the coolest guys throughout history have like a little smidge of Hooper in them.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's something that
That's
shows up. You know who's got a smidge of Hooper in them? I know you know. I know you
uh,
know. Coors
oh,
Light, the sponsor of this podcast. We are, of course, presented by Coors Light. Basketball can be stressful, Trey, but your choice of beer, it doesn't have to be. Coors Light delivers mountain cold refreshment. We saw people in the comments every single episode saying, I bought some Coors Light myself. We love to see it. We want Coors
yes.
Light. We want Coors Light to sponsor the pod in perpetuity. To always, we're locked in with Coors Light, and to see that the listeners and viewers are locked in as well. It's very heartwarming. Also, and this is something that listeners and viewers get to enjoy. When the mountain turns blue, Trey, the beer is as cold and refreshing as the Rockies. It's a nice little, it's like a timer in the kitchen. It's a visual aid. It's some people need that to put you on the right path. Make sure, and I'll also say, Coors Light is cold lagered. It is cold filtered and cold certified for a smoother finish. Celebrate responsibly, and of course, you must be of legal drinking age to imbibe, to partake. You can find Coors Light near you. Visit CoorsLightShop.ca. Trevon, I had an allegation of dumbassery. So they were saying I'm a dumb guy. And you know
Yeah.
what? About some things I am. And this one, especially after last game against the Hawks, they doubled Brandon Ingram a lot. That was
Mhm.
their approach. They didn't feel like they had a good matchup for him. And when I was comparing Scottie's turnover woes sometimes to Brandon's, I said that I understood Scottie's a little bit more and that his weren't as bad as Brandon's. Then it came up. How often is Brandon Ingram getting double teamed? Because my contention was that you always think your favorite players are getting double teamed more because you're always like, they won't let this guy.
Yeah. He's too
And
good.
yeah, he's too good. And I remember being surprised at how often, when the NBA.com, they used to have a public double team stat, and both Pascal and Fred were in the top 10 during that 2021-22
I
season.
do remember this. Yes.
Turns out Precious Achua is not a wheel greaser offensively, despite some of the flashes. Turns out OG did not have a ton of respect still. Gary Trent Jr. was a heat pump. Uh, anyway, we all know what that was. So I looked up Ingram's double team volume, and I'm curious, and we're not going to do how often it happens, but this is Synergy's numbers. And if
Mhm.
listen, listeners, if you disagree with these numbers, that's totally fine. I think these numbers can be, imperfect and all that kind of stuff, but where else are you going to get the double team stats? Huh? Besides from Daddy Samson on the podcast. I'm giving them to you. So Ingram's double team volume, we're sorting by percentile. So
Okay.
where he is in the NBA. out of isolations, what percentile of time do you think, or what percentile in the NBA do you think he gets double teamed out of isolations?
I'm trying to think of isolation. It's he's he's more so having trouble before the catch than honestly when he's being isolated. I'm gonna say 45 percentile.
You are a ball knower, sir. You're within 10 percentile. He's middle of the pack,
Okay,
55th percentile.
yes,
If you're within 10 percentile of guessing
I'll take it.
double team percentiles, dude, you're on the money.
I'll
I'm
take
telling
it.
you right now. Okay, this next one is very difficult.
Mm.
Out of post ups, what percentile is Brandon Ingram getting doubled?
I think this is high. This has to be high, especially because they run those a lot late in game too for him. I'm gonna say 78th.
Ball knower tag, yoink, revoked. He is 26th
What?
percentile. I suspect this is like you know how in baseball your closer blows a
Yeah.
save, so you think it happens all the time. We
Mm.
watched every single clutch possession, and they doubled a few times, and it was like they're doubling Bi. They can't stop him. It's actually not happening that much, and he
Sick.
posts up a lot,
That's
lot of
why I
post
thought it would be
ups.
high.
Yeah, but
Uh,
26 percentile, which is not the full like how many times per game, of
mhm.
which Ingram does rank high, but it's just that relative to like a guy like Pascal or somebody like that, he just doesn't get doubled as often.
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama gets doubled a lot, for example. I think he's number one in the NBA.
Mm.
Now
That
we have
makes
two more. We're gonna rapid fire these.
Okay.
So a double in a pick and roll, we call that a blitz, right?
Yeah.
Out of blitzes, how relative to the rest of the league, what percentile is he getting blitzed, do you think, out of the pick and roll?
Hmm. Get out of I'm trying to I can't visualize like 10 Brandon Ingram pick and roll possessions, honestly.
Yeah, they don't run it that often, you know?
Yeah. Mm.
He's middle of the pack in how often he runs pick and roll this season,
Yeah.
despite having years where he's kind of like closer to the top third.
See, a lot of his turnovers do come from blitzing, though. I'm gonna say 65.
Okay. It was 44th percentile. That's
All right.
not bad.
That's not terrible.
These margins of error are not bad at all.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what percentile is he seeing help sent on drives?
Low. It's gonna be low. I want to say it's like 35%.
60th percentile.
60%. I feel like the Raptors get no help on any drives.
So this is the interesting thing about Synergy is hand track data. So
Mm.
there are some things that Synergy really knows how to track. This is something like, Caitlin and I were noticing there was a discrepancy between how many possessions of zone were actually being played in a game versus what Synergy was tracking. There is room for error, but like pull up jump shooting, there's like never going to
Yeah.
be error on that. But deciding whether a guy is playing like goalie in the lane or whether he's double teaming, deciding where a defender crosses the border on, okay, showing help versus
Yeah.
doubling, like all that kind of stuff, that's what people on Synergy have to decide. And
Fair.
insofar, good luck. Good freaking luck, man. But all this to say, to reiterate the Brandon Ingram point, his shot making has been sublime. He was
Yeah.
incredibly sharp against the Hawks. He had a couple, maybe 3 or 4 plays where he clearly got overwhelmed by the doubles and they attacked the dribble and he got put in a tough spot. But the Raptors, and this is why RJ helps so much, they have to do a better job of flashing to him. I think they still he doesn't get doubled that much, so they don't get to practice it all that often. But in terms of like, this is a guy who we should show up more for as cutters, I think it's a valid complaint for the BI fans, whose names I still don't know. There's Scottie FC, BI. I know
Okay.
Kingram. Kingram is popular.
Okay. Ingram. I like it.
Anyway, the last topic. So on Sunday, I was talking about Quickley's advantage assists. You and I, we laugh a lot when we're wrong, and we're wrong about some of the similar things, but we disagree
Yeah.
about a great many things.
Yes.
I obviously was being, I wouldn't say pedantic, but I was just being like, I want to go look at all of Quickly's assists and make
Mhm.
sense of it. 24% being advantage assists. You've been friends with me. You know I'm an annoying little nerd. You know what an advantage assist is. Does that pass your smell test? And what do you think of, I guess, the approach?
I think it's as clear as day,
Mm.
to be honest. Most of Emmanuel Quickly's possessions end up either turning into um, floaters because he can't beat rotations and get blow bys, and then oftentimes the majority of assists that he gets are scripted through Raptor set plays. The easiest one has to be, if I were to guess, the large majority of assists is either in transition or in the half court, a curl off from Ingram, which I could throw him the ball and allow him to shoot. If he doesn't get many blow-bys, and also the Raptors are in a position where he can extend any advantage anyways. I think their approach in offense has changed, what you saw kind of today. Like, they're just putting less of the onus on him. So I think it's fairly clear, to be honest.
So I think if Ingram was hitting like quickly 10 over 10% of his assists on the season are just throwing to Brandon Ingram off of screens. That I don't know what percent the Raptors points are this season are Brandon Ingram scoring off of screens. I actually could go do the math. I guess I'm too lazy for it right now, but that's a super high mark.
Yeah.
But the most interesting question isn't looking into this and saying that. The most interesting question is, do you believe? Because Quickly, somebody brought this up when I was showing the film. Is like Quickly's doing what he's supposed to do. That's a good point. He is. They're running a scripted play for Ingram. They need to
Yeah.
make sure he gets his touches. Quickly is giving it to him. My question is, do we think that, well, one, Quickly the last couple games has spent less time on ball a little bit, and
Mhm.
they've gone more so because they've been able to work through the wings against this collection of teams. Quickly can operate a little bit more as an off-ball shooter, which is nice to see. But do you think that the Raptors are currently adhering to a limitation of Quickly's and playing that way? Or do you think that they're kind of like not asking him to do enough? Do you want him to be what is it? I'm not calling you out, I'm calling you up. Like what do you
Yeah.
want this situation to be?
And I think in the ideal sense, he plays off the ball more. We ran through enough possessions. We've had enough games in that. I think being able to get to the rim and getting blow-bys is something that you kind of see early from players, and it's not something usually like 26, 27, 28 that you develop heading
It
as
only
you
it
get
only took Keontae 3 years. God damn it.
usually, like, the shot making gets better. Like Norman Powell, like, he didn't turn into a dribble god. He just like figured out another way to become a really high level scorer. And that was like his shot making, being able to move off ball, becoming a bastard, as you like to say, at the things that he did really well. He just got better at those things. With IQ, the things that he's done in the NBA that have he's excelled at a high level has been the off ball stuff. It's attacking closeouts, getting to his floater, being one of the better 3-point shooters in the league, playing off ball and utilizing that his gravity to help everyone else in terms of offense. Whenever he's been asked to show boulder the lion's share of the actual offense, it's led to the Raptors playing horizontally, not being able to get downhill, oftentimes dribbling, going downhill, turning around, kicking out to a 3-point shot. That's why Mamu has been tremendous for him in his minutes, being able to be that play finisher. Why RJ helps him a ton. They I think you're beating a dead horse asking him to do something that he doesn't do well, and that NBA defenses seem very happy in letting him try.
I do think when I think about his ideal role, he's underperforming his transition 3-point shooting this year by a lot. Historically, he's a really strong transition
Mhm.
3-point shooter. And so I'm happy for him to keep getting that volume. I think it comes around
Yep.
and he might like when he has had these big stretches, he's had a couple of them this season. A lot of it is like, okay, the trigger, it's quicker and the shots are dropping in. As far as I don't know if I've ever seen a really convincing stretch of manipulating on ball play from him, where
Yeah,
he's really creating like quality looks for others because of his own dribble and all that kind of stuff. And of course, it's never truly out of the question.
of
Nobody can
course.
know, but I'm I'm not super convinced that that stuff is there. But listen, he's on the team. He's a huge part of the team. He doesn't turn the ball over. Great. He projects as a very strong transition 3-point shooter. He projects as a good bring up ball handler. If you want to run quick offense, he has to be a little bit better at moving the ball on, I think, quicker. But
Mhm.
there's like attacking teams through step up screens as a bring up ball handler, early offense. A lot of the stuff that he did with the Knicks, where there was less pressure on him to kind of, I guess, facilitate offense for a whole team. And it was just kind of like find your pockets and be a shot maker. He does the same. He's still capable of doing that as a Raptor. You see it show up, but he's responsible for getting people touches. He's responsible for facilitating offense, and that's one of the toughest jobs in all of the NBA. And I don't need like he's been getting it's been tough for him with the fan base and everything like that. I get it, and everyone feels as though like maybe it's a bit much, but
Yeah.
I do think it's an interesting conversation because point guarding is one of the softest skills in the NBA and something that is so hard to define and analyze. And Emmanuel Quickley is a really interesting intersection in that point. Anything else on the Raptors point guard, and then we can get out of here.
No, I would just and I know we're RJ Cabal, but
No, dude, they say we're not.
oh, we're not. So, all right.
They like, dude. It's we always talk about this. There's always somebody who can outflank you, man.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I I think in reference to Quickly, um, one of the reasons CMB was able to get going offensively is just that he had access to interior passes that just aren't available when RJ isn't in the lineup. Because he gets downhill, creates rotations, and gets easy points, being able to dish it off. Jamal does that really well too, but in Quickly's minutes, a lot of the role players, especially interior, have a really hard time getting the ball or getting in advantageous situations just simply because nobody's in rotation when he's trying to break down the defense.
He but when he has it going, man, like
Yes.
that game against the Warriors, he's the fact that he had 5 turnovers and 1 assist, and he finished with 7 assists and 5 turnovers. Like, yeah, they were spamming the pin down and the curl for Brandon, but it was like he didn't turn the ball over, and he hit like 4 triples in the final run, and he was just like a heat pump. And
Yep.
he listen, it was Jamal Shed got the look, like Emmanuel got to play that comfortable off ball New York Knicks defense.
Yep.
Other people were taking on the like vaunted defensive matchups in that game, and he looked great, man. He
Hmm.
looked really good. And of course, it's not always going to be that, but even in the game he just played, it's lower key. It's not as many touches. He just comes in. He's just an efficient scorer. He doesn't turn the ball over. I think he only got 1 assist or 2 in tonight's game, but yeah, just a guy who's using his skills to amplify what other guys are doing instead of being relied upon to amplify as like a lead creator. And but like the thing is, the Raptors have to ask for it from like 4 different people and they're
Yeah.
comfortable together, which means the mix on a night to night basis gets funky and weird. And that's why when they had it going, man, oh baby, they're the second best half court offense in the NBA. And then they were the worst in the league by a big measure. Anyway, what do you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Hope everyone had a great new year. Lots of things to come. Playoffs are loading. We're not just satisfied with 4. We're punching up. We're punching up. Hornets are going to be a tough matchup. They're playing good ball, but I think Cuckoo win.
Do you have a Marty Supreme, like a 15-second review?
Outside of Sinners, it's the best movie I've watched in a long time. It incredible. I've been saying it to all of our friends. Jalen Brown was talking about his greatness, what he was gonna do this season. Timothy Chalamet was saying, "I'm looking for greatness. I should win the Best Actor." He wasn't lying. He carried the movie for 2.5 hours of him being in every single scene. He's just like greatness rubbed off of Jaylen Brown's hairline. Greatness rubbed off that paddle because he killed the thing.
Yeah, it was a fun movie. It was a good
Yeah.
movie. You know what's funny though? The dialogue. We've talked about this on the podcast before. Is like the box office watchers. I see. Oh, there's so much resentment built up towards Timothy Chalamet,
Yeah.
and some of it is because Marty Supreme is getting compared to Sinners, and people are like, "What the fuck is it?" And I was just like, "Man, they don't even compete. Like
Yeah.
it's not even." But competition. People love it.
It's
Go
weird.
ahead.
It's not like sports where like this guy, they're gonna have to play each other in order to get things or to get what they want. But like both movies could just be like fantastic.
Who was the best actor in Sinners for you? Was it MBJ?
I feel like that was like a Tatum championship where it's like the ensemble was so strong that it didn't really matter.
I thought it was Delroy probably. He
Oh,
was
yes. Oh,
he
yeah.
was but it's
He
a
was
smaller
fantastic.
role, but he was so good, man.
Yeah, I forgot the actor's name. The kid in the movie is fantastic too.
He can
Honestly.
sing, man.
Yeah, he did.
He can sing. Could you imagine? I don't think you or I can sing. Could you imagine if you could sing? It's probably better. I'd be so annoying. I'd be singing all
We
the
do a
damn day.
podcast week. If we could sing, we'd be singing every
No kidding, man. No kidding. That'd be a hell of a duo, man. Could you imagine the artwork we come up with for the album covers? Nonsense. Anyway, thanks to everybody for tuning in with us. Thank you once again to Coors Light for presenting the Pull Up Trey podcast. From myself and Trey, thank you for tuning in. Whether you got into this, well, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hype, all that good stuff too. I keep forgetting. Anyway, whether you got into this in the morning or at night, from myself and Trey, have a blessed day and goodbye.